All right. Good morning, everybody. This is the All About Nothing podcast kind of daily show. I am Bear Gruber. I'm joined with Bill Kimler, who is the host of the podcast Black, White, and Blue in the South. Had an episode drop yesterday, and I'd love to lie to everybody and say that I listened to it and it was fantastic, but I'm purely going to have to go off of the reviews out of the New York Post. One of the best episodes ever recorded in podcast history. Michael Layer being the guest. So congratulations, Bill.
It
That's quite
was
a
far and away our most profanity-laced episode we've ever had. We had a segment that had so many bleeps in it. I'm going to leave you wanting more. So I'm just going to throw that teaser out there.
is there
It had more bleeps in it than all of our other episodes combined.
is there a possibility that there will be a director's cut released?
Yeah,
Okay.
YouTube. So
Yeah,
our
YouTube.
YouTube video is completely unedited
Okay.
because you have to go out of your way to go watch that. But for the poor unsuspecting grandma who's got or mother of big media empire who's subscribed to our episode, we don't want to hurt their very delicate ears.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
fair.
we had to bleep a lot in this episode.
Yeah, that's fair.
In fact, we're evolving to just 40 minutes of censor beeps. That's kind of where we're heading towards with this administration. Just one long.
It's entirely possible. I certainly recognize the how everyone is feeling about everything that's kind of going on. I was just reading an article about the fact that the Doge has broadened its sweep of federal agencies to now include the health payment system, and it's concerning for so many reasons, but one being I know how the health payment system works. I worked in Medicare for years and worked in the provider services department, so I know just how scrutinized claims from doctors and Medicare Part D providers, whether that's the durable medical equipment and things like that. I know how scrutinized their claims are in order for them to get paid. I literally worked in a department where we took phone calls from the providers' offices asking, why can't we get paid? And it's because they didn't follow the necessary guidelines as far as the procedure codes versus diagnosis codes and things like that. So, I the idea that that has become corrupt. Now, there were some things that went on when I worked in Medicare. There was some corruption, but that wasn't at the government level. It was at it was at the Blue Cross Blue Shield level. It was the insurance level that there were individuals who had figured out how to make the system pay them or make the system pay friends of theirs so they could make money off of. But there were always
So let me
audits.
throw this hypothetical your way. So let's just tease this out. What if Kamala Harris had won? And what if Mark Cuban, the anti-Musk, got involved, created his own group just like Musk did, infiltrated and got access to Treasury departments, medical payments, Social Security, and all that. And he inserted himself and made payments to the people go a lot faster or increased payments and kind of really smooth things out. And it benefited the people directly. Would we be upset by the manner in which they did that if
It,
the outcome benefited the people directly?
in that scenario, are we still talking about Mark Cuban being an unelected, unappointed?
Yes.
Yeah, I still wouldn't be comfortable with that.
And that's
There's
an interesting thought, right? So it's truly the methodology and the process and the breaking of constitutional divisions and separation of powers that's bothersome.
yeah.
And then you put on top of it, who knows what the hell the outcome is going to be with Musk around. And I suspect there's going to be a siphoning of money out of these systems to to who knows what.
Yeah.
Is it going to be offshore? Trump was talking about some sort of sovereign investment fund. Funded from what? Right?
Yeah.
He wants the government to buy TikTok. Can you think of anything worse than? I mean, we were screaming not too long ago. At least the conservatives were, that they didn't want government involved in the social media
Yeah,
and influencing what's said. Now they're just perfectly okay with the government buying social media platforms. What the hell? In fact, the government owns Truth Social. I mean, we got to be
pretty
honest
much.
about that. So they have a social media platform if people want to flock to it, but it's not enough. They want everything. They've got Facebook and Instagram to bend the knee, and Threads, with the Zuckerberg empire. They're getting TikTok lathering Trump's ass to
Yeah,
stay in business. Uh, Pretty soon we will be left with just Blue Sky, and then who knows what efforts they'll take with Blue Sky. They're really clamping down on the print media. They're clamping down on the social media, and what's going to be left is you and I talking to each other on tin cans and string.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, the likelihood is Google's already bent the knee. They make donation to his inauguration.
They did. They've canceled DEI. They're going down that path as well.
Yeah, so there will, it is the canceling of basically it's the canceling of almost everything, because it's not just going to be Democrats and liberals and progressives that are
Oh,
affected by this. It's even conservatives and MAGA. It doesn't matter. You will start to recognize that there are services, or there are options for your social media that are no longer there, that your posts may get scrubbed even before you hit submit.
the
It's entirely
brain
possible.
twisting that's going on uh, to explain or accept what's happening, or you just even dismiss and wave away that, nah, this is fine,
Yeah,
is staggering, Barrett. I
I know.
posted on my Facebook page a photo I took of uh, $8.99 eggs, right? So the prices have just gone nuts,
Yeah.
double what they were a month ago. And I posted, hey, do you feel like we are better off than we were 3 months ago, or heck, even 3 weeks ago? And I actually had one of my MAGA relatives comment saying, well, price increases have started under Biden, as if prices have never increased in history, that that was a Biden invention. And he says, besides, I'm okay paying extra for the security, the extra security that I feel. So basically, he's willing to pay $8.99 for eggs because brown people are getting locked up, deported without trial or due process.
You
He
know,
feels safer.
I wonder the 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 cognitive dissonance of that whole situation. Look, the reason the egg prices are low is it purely on supply and demand
Yeah.
under the Biden administration. So a guy that's basically thanking Trump for having $9 eggs is completely disconnected from the reality of the fact that the reason the egg prices are at $9 an hour is because the demand is higher and the supply is lower, because under the Biden administration they killed off millions of chickens for fear of bird flu. So that's the reason that the prices are at $9 a dozen right now. And
You know what? Rational explanations
it's
have
just
gone out the window.
so
I
I'm just
perfectly
trying to say
get that.
the guy's thanking Biden is what he's doing. This
Yeah.
MAGA is yeah. Anyway, sorry. Just
Yeah.
insane.
You roll back 1 year and you had JD Vance standing in front of an egg display decrying the cost of eggs as being Biden's fault.
Yeah.
And now you hear the very same guy saying, well, you see, it's outside the president's control. It's supply demand. Like now they're econ professors.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, where the hell was the same guy complaining about $3 eggs last year, $4 eggs? And now he's econ explaining
Well,
$8 eggs.
and I want to understand, like, I went out, let's see. I don't go out of the house often. I drove on
I
Saturday.
wouldn't say that out loud. My
I
goodness,
don't.
man.
Look, if in a perfect world, I am a hermit. This is the only way people see me. That
You know, I
that's
had a
it's the perfect
I
world.
had a I have to just go back to your live solo stream yesterday, and I love popping in and dropping a comment that catches you off guard. Your head was like, what was that Pixar film with the emotions and the feelings?
Yeah, in and out.
Inside Out, I think, or something like that. And there was that guy with the fiery head who was angry all the time. You were about to burst flames out of your head like that guy. and then I popped in a comment about you looking guilty as fuck,
So,
and
okay, so
it threw you off. It was just so funny to watch your total train of thought get derailed.
So genuinely, do I look frustrated or like am I do I just when I'm doing those cuz I can ask people on TikTok, do I look upset or whatever, and I'll try, and I think I manipulate myself. But you as an outside observer in that moment, do I look like I'm on the verge of like wanting to throw fists or something?
No, no, no. I exaggerate for
No, but
effect. But
yeah, but
I could tell though, you were getting frustrated in your
it's
calm Gruber manner because it was just barrage of comment after comment you were addressing.
yeah.
And then one guy said, you need to be investigated.
Yeah, I
And
enjoyed
you were
that.
like, that's so stupid. You were just there was no sunshine. It was just dark clouds.
I
And
like
I had to go in there and blow it all away.
I like the idea that people think that I haven't been investigated before. I've held positions in federal contracts that required top secret clearance. So, it's not like I haven't been investigated before. It happens from time to time. Uh yeah, it's unbelievable the cognitive dissonance of what you see as far as comments, and I don't really get triggered by it. I look at it as really it's just entertainment. I mean, there's really no way of getting around.
I'll
Uh,
tell you what triggers me. It's not the comments from the cognitive dissonant, as you put it. The ones that are just out there. That just rolls off my back.
yeah.
It's the comments from those who are supposed allies that
Oh,
bother me.
sure.
I am really getting tired and sick of those who are screaming, well, the Democrats need to do something, or the Democrats' messaging is awful, or the Democrats can. It's like, holy cow, we lost by a couple 100,000 votes, right? It was a close election, could have gone the other way, and it was with a candidate who ran for only 90 days.
Yeah.
Uh, Trump had lost in a massive fashion in 2020. Hillary Clinton lost in a larger fashion back in 2016. You never heard either of those two parties completely collapse with finger pointing and bickering like I'm seeing today.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, I mean, they're expecting a party that's in the minority in both the House and Senate to do something. It's like, well, there's a reason they're in the minority. They can't do something when you're in the minority,
Yeah.
right? They can't filibuster, they can't block things, they can't pass their own laws. That's upon us to vote our people in.
Right.
And if we're too busy yelling at each other to work on getting candidates to go in there, then there's nothing that's going to be done. You can march all you want, you can make all the phone calls you want, you can send resist bot texts all you want. At the end of the day, you need to have your people in Congress. And we're like less than half a dozen,
Yeah.
5 people away from having a congressional minority where we take over all of the committees, where we take over the policies, where we take over the agenda.
Yeah.
That's what we need to be focused on, not this other BS stuff about, well, Democrats need better messaging. F that. You've got Donald Trump simulated a blowjob at a rally 3 days before the election.
Yeah,
You
he
remember
did.
that?
He did.
He did. And you're going to worry about Democrat messaging being off. Screw that. Just be forceful, be loud, and move on.
Yeah. And ultimately, like you said, there's really nothing that Democrats can do to you know but basically, honestly, I think Schumer going out there and dancing is to the detriment of the Democratic Party.
There are some dumb things they're doing. Yeah. Yeah. Schumer saying that we're all feeling emotional or stimulated. I think he says, I've never seen
Yes.
Democrats so stimulated. Like, really, could you find a better word than that?
Yeah, you may
Uh,
you may have just done your own microphone blowjob on that one.
yeah. But then you also have, and this bothers me. So, no, they can't do everything. They can't get things just their way. With it's not like they have to make it easy for this current administration either. I mean, sure as hell, the Republicans never made it easy for Biden. So why we have senators that I used to respect, like John Fetterman from Pennsylvania, voting for Pam Bondi to be Attorney General, approving that. Now, this is Pam Bondi, who took a bribe from Donald Trump over Trump University lawsuits. So Trump University was under investigation in states all over the country. Pam Bondi was the Attorney General of Florida. She got a $50,000 contribution from Donald Trump. And guess what investigation got closed down? The Trump University investigation.
Yeah.
So now he taps her to be his Attorney General, which is supposed to be something of an independent agency.
Yeah, that's out the window now.
To the detriment of us. Merrick Garland was independent. And John Fetterman goes, okay,
Yep.
let's vote her in. And it's like, what kind of maverick action is that? That's a stupid action. And a rational human being would say, no, she is not fit or qualified for that position. Why are some of these Democrats going along with it?
Yeah, I don't know if it's out of just the fear that this is the Donald Trump kingdom to come. This is that we are looking at an individual who his cronies, and I say his cronies because they're not really his cronies, they're more like his puppet masters. That his puppet masters are using him to basically hold on to this office because he's got charisma that some reason, every hill and holler in West Virginia is got Trump signs all over it, even though the difference between Donald Trump and Jessica White is so immensely far apart when it comes to who they are, what it is they represent, and yet somehow through populism, I guess, Donald Trump has convinced these people that he's one of them. And the I've had, not to take a hard segue, but I've had multiple conversations with individuals about DEI from a company level, including some people that were part of the DEI employee resource group under a couple federal contracts. And what in those conversations, what I've learned is that none of them use DEI as a hiring process. That DEI is not something that's you. It is absolutely and totally an inclusive part of the employment
Yeah,
life.
we talked about
I
this
know.
last time where they've taken that phrase, just redefined it
Yeah.
to something that it's not, and then turned it into a war cry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the pattern.
And I asked, and essentially I also have asked, what sort of feedback have you gotten from the employees that work where you work? What is the feedback that you've gotten from employees about because they are with federal contracts, therefore they have to remove any verbiage in handbooks and uh, like even at the FBI, literally somebody was painting over a wall that had
Yeah.
literally just words on it.
There was I don't know if it was in the CIA. There was a wall of heroes where
Yeah.
they recognized names of fallen
Fallen.
agents. And there was a section there about, here are some African American and female agents, that have fallen. And somebody took brown paper and taped over it because they thought they were complying with this new wave of DEI. So really, they besmirched the memory of fallen heroes to try to comply with this language scrubbing. Have you seen such a thing? Language scrubbing
Yes.
across all these agencies, to what end? How is that helping you or me or anybody?
Yeah,
It's not. It's
a little
weird.
country the size of Georgia and Alabama over in Europe did it back in the 1930s and 40s.
Yeah.
Uh, not.
So I'm going to pivot. Let's talk Super Bowl, my friend, because
Let's do it.
the next time we speak, the Super Bowl will be over. I think it's
We'll speak
important
before
to
that.
I think it's important to note that this president has decided he's going to be at that Super Bowl. And by some strange coincidence, less than an hour later after that announcement, reports came out that prices for Super Bowl tickets dropped by over half.
That's incredible.
The average price of a Super Bowl ticket have plummeted 58% since he announced he was going to be there in person.
That could be a really interesting litmus test too, because he'll go out on the field and he'll do his, his jerking off two midgets at the same time thing. And I I am curious as to, because they're, instead of the national anthem, they're going to have somebody do YMCA, uh, or maybe they'll get all the J6ers that either aren't that, they're out of prison, but that are either not been killed. I think there's been three J6ers now that have died since their release, all at the hands of the police. So
Think about it. They were safer being locked up.
yeah, yeah, because
Trump killed them by pardoning them. So
well,
yeah, good job.
so you look at it this way. So, keeping them in jail, one, kept them away from doing dumb stuff, and two, kept them out of the hands of the police. That it sounds like there are police officers out there is like, oh, your name came up. That's interesting. I know who you are. Is that your eye patch? Huh. Oh, listen, sit right there, close your eyes, and just count to three, and then, you know, I'm not saying that's how it happened, but I'm not saying that's not how it shouldn't happen. Uh,
Considering what happened to the Capitol Police and the videos
yeah,
and the testimonies and all, I wouldn't be surprised
yeah.
if the Brotherhood was taking care of itself kind of behind the scenes.
And that's the kind of, I'm not saying that that's 100% what's happening, but I think that that is the kind of situation that this look in France, when, in history, when the king and the queen got out of control, they'd revolt. The United States, we revolted against a British monarchy that was abusing the American colonies. Germany, Hitler's uprising was the direct result of, the situation that he took advantage of and manipulated.
Well, you
But
could have revolted yesterday, but you decided to sleep in because you bowled the night before. So you had your shot to be part
that's
of
right.
American history.
That's right. So, but sorry, we segued away from the Super Bowl. Um, I think, I know ultimately your belief is, Philly is going to win.
Well, here's
What?
what happens. I am of a firm belief that everything Trump touches turns to shit.
Yeah, that's true.
He called the Kansas City Chiefs organization after the championship game to congratulate them on going to the Super Bowl. Guess who did not get a phone call? The,
I'm
the one
guessing.
city that hates Trump more than New York City, or maybe on the same level, is Philadelphia.
Yeah,
Philadelphia doesn't put up with this shit.
yeah,
And so he didn't even give them a call. So of course, Philadelphia is guaranteed now to win the Super Bowl.
yeah.
That is, I'm putting that down. There's my marker. You've got Patrick Mahomes saying, "Yeah, cool that Trump will be there." Okay, fine. I predict Patrick Mahomes is knocked out in the first drive. That's kind of the curse, the reverse Midas touch.
That's fair. That's fair. I look forward to it. I'll be watching. It's, Philadelphia. Did you see the New Orleans, the Superdome? Did it catch on fire for a few minutes earlier this week?
I didn't
Even
see that, but I wouldn't,
I
wouldn't doubt it.
Phillies fans weren't even in there yet,
Yeah,
and a section of it's on fire. It's like, what are they celebrating yet, and how did
some
they get in this early?
somebody wrote an article. I think it was on Substack that they pointed out that Trump being at the Super Bowl was lose lose for him.
Yeah,
So, given let's say that Philadelphia wins. Okay, the city that hates him, that he hates, one, it's going to make him miserable. All right, so let's say the Kansas City Chiefs win. Well, who was the pop superstar that came out and supported Kamala directly? All the Swifties. He hates Taylor Swift enough that he actually had to write a post on Truth Social saying, "I hate Taylor Swift."
yeah,
Kansas City wins. She's going to be on the 50-yard line dancing.
yep. It is a
He's
lose
going to be
lose.
pissed off by that. So it's a lose lose for him. So I don't know why he thinks he needs to be there.
You know, because that's two reasons he decided to become president, or that he decided to run for president and wanted to win so desperately. One, keep him out of jail. That is quite literally the only
Yeah,
reason that this man is not in jail. And two is, so that he can force himself into these celebrity situations.
man. Do you believe in a multiverse? Because I want to be in that universe where he is in jail at this moment, having lost the election.
I have to figure that
Man,
almost
think about
all of
that
the
time.
other multiverses he's in jail, because I keep saying this is the dumbest timeline. This is
Uh,
100% the dumbest timeline. We live in a timeline where
We're the
essentially,
timeline that needs to be pruned by that
yeah, the
time agency in the
TSA,
Loki series.
T,
Yeah,
the TVA, the TVA needs to come and
the
prune this
TVA.
timeline. I,
We need to be pruned. Let's
I,
just do it.
I accept it. I was going to say, as just to pivot back to John Fetterman before we wrap this up, I think John Fetterman was bitten by the werewolf version of Kristen Cinema. I think that he has moved into, and I don't understand why. I don't know what he has to gain from it, except for the potential that he will be unseated by a Democrat in a primary. But he is now in that Joe Manchin, Kristen Cinema. He's leaning in that direction. He's going to be the guy that hoses things up when the Democrats take control in two
Like, he
years.
wants to visit Mar-a-Lago and talk to Trump directly. Fine. I mean, I couldn't do it, but if he wants to do it, I don't. That's fine. It's the votes that he gives.
Yeah.
That's where I'll be watching, right? So you can meet and talk and say anything you want. How did you vote? And so far, his voting has been disappointing. And in fact, instead of taking his charisma and using it to rail against these appointees that are highly unqualified, have no merit, have no character to speak of, that he's going to not speak out in he's got a very unique way of talking. He's got some hilarious insights, and he's not using that to weaken these positions and these nominees. That's disappointing.
Do you think that Pete Headspath, whatever, our Department of Defense secretary, do you think he has one of those signs on the wall where it says number of days since I quit drinking, and he goes in there and he erases it every day, and
What
then,
bothers you more, the fact that he's got a history of alcohol abuse and addiction, or the fact that he's got white nationalist symbols tattooed on his body?
oh, the white nationalists. I
Yes.
don't,
So that's what
drinkers.
we need to be talking about. You actually put a white power dude in charge of the Pentagon. And
So
and
all
the
right,
fact that Republicans were like, let's
we'll
do it,
we'll change
is
that sign.
disappointing.
We'll change that sign to the number of days not having attended a Klan rally. And it's
Yeah.
always zero. The dumbest, it's the
Get
dumbest
us out of here,
timeline.
Barrett. Get
Dumbest
us out of
timeline.
here.
That is going to do it for this morning's the All About Nothing podcast kind of daily show. I am Barrett Gruber. You can follow me across all of social media at Barrett Gruber. My guest friend, not guest, co-host. I don't know why I said guest. Bill
Paid
Kimler.
actor. You can
Yeah,
call me whatever you want.
un-
Paid shill.
he's the extra to my
I'm an
my.
AI avatar, to be
That's
honest
right.
with you. I'm not even real.
Bill Kimler, host of the podcast Black, White, and Blue in the South, with co-hostess Mrs. Dr. Jamil Brooks. I'm having a morning. I did it last night when we were recording the podcast. So anyway, follow us both across all social media. He is at
Are you
Political Bill
still
SC.
on X? Do you actively post with the AAN account
No,
on X?
no, do not
Okay.
post with AAN. And I if I am going to go in and probably just remove those accounts because they don't hold any value. I have retained mine, and I will post on mine, but they get almost zero visibility. Like, I'm not putting in "Hail Trump" or
Right.
whatever it takes to get noticed. So I post videos where we're making fun of Elon Musk, and they probably get suppressed. So doesn't think of the difference. Anyway, all right, folks, that's gonna do it. You all have a great weekend, and go
Go
Eagles.
birds.
We will look forward to that outcome. And Tuesday morning, Bill is either going to be a shell of a man, or or he's going to be the most rambunctious 52-year-old, 53-year-old that you've ever seen in your entire life. So you all stay safe, be
I
kind.
may or may not be clothed for that appearance. We'll have to see how it goes.
Okay, definitely keep your hands to yourself. Oh, that was good. Always good.